the H.A.T.A.E podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the H.A.T.A.E podcast with me, Benjamin Madel. Today, I've got my guest, Korinthia Marsh. How are you, Korinthia?
I'm great. How are you, Ben?
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Those who listen to the podcast, like as always, will know that we don't like to mess about too much at the start with all the small talk. So, how did you get into hairdressing then, Korinthia?
I got into hairdressing when I was 14, right before my freshman year of high school started. I got a job at a salon right next door to my high school, the one I was going to be going to, and they were in need of a shampoo girl. I lied about my age and I took the interview. And then they found out that I was too young and they told me I couldn't take the job. But then the girl that was supposed to show up for her first day of work didn't. So they called me and then we figured it out. And I worked there all 4 years of high school, starting off as like shampoo girl, receptionist, and kind of like starting to work my way to assisting the stylist around the salon. And then I graduated high school and moved to LA to start going to school.
Oh, fantastic. Was the hairdressing industry something you always had an interest in, or was it just a case of that's a job and I'll take it?
Yeah, no, I was like obsessed with hair and makeup and all things. I actually started off with a passion for makeup. I was too scared to do hair because I was like, makeup, you can do it and wipe it off if you mess up, but hair, once you do it, what if you mess up? You can't fix it. And that salon that I was at for those 4 years helped me get a lot of confidence with hair. But I did work with their bridal team as an assistant before I started doing the hair aspect. But I've always been in love with the beauty industry as a whole, and I knew it's something I wanted to do at an early age.
Oh, fantastic. So you worked there all through high school, and then what made you decide to move to LA? Was that just because you wanted to train in LA, or is that because you wanted, or just circumstance took you there?
I think there was like a few factors that went into it. I graduated high school at 17 and it became that conversation of like, what are the next steps? What are we doing? And I think I was over the cold weather. That was the biggest thing. I'm like, I want to be somewhere warm. And LA had like California had the most hours. So I was like, even if I went to beauty school here in Baltimore, I'd still have to go and take more hours when I get there. So I might as well just leave right away and go there fully. And I wanted the opportunities that LA had. So yeah, that's kind of what made me, it was between LA and New York, but New York was a little too close to home. And when you're 17 and graduating high school, you just want to be as far away from your parents as possible. And now I'm like, man, I wish I was closer to them.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Also, you don't escape the cold weather in New York, do you? You get a nice summer, but you still get the cold winters.
Yeah, you do. You still
Abs-
have to shovel that snow.
Absolutely. How did you find it then, moving away sort of so young? Sort of, it's a long way, isn't it? How far is it from Baltimore there to LA?
I mean, it's like a 6 hour flight. It's
Yeah,
definitely Baltimore's on one end and California's on the other.
yeah. So for
But
reference, you can fly from New York to London quicker.
could you? Yeah.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So it's a long old way. So
that's
how did you find moving there? Were you on your own when you moved there, or how did you find it?
Yeah, my parents came out with me. I had an aunt here. She helped me kind of get it established in the first few months, and then I went to school in Orange County, and then I moved to LA by myself to start training in Beverly Hills. So it was a nice like middle of the road before hitting LA fully,
Yeah, you
having
got a nice transition. Then there was a family member there as well, so it's not. I mean, it's still intimidating, but it's not quite as intimidating as it could have been.
yeah.
Yeah, certainly. And how did you find the training? Did you sort of take to it very easily? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, even now, my mentor, now we're close friends, and I tell her all the time, like, if you need me to just come assist you, just, a second pair of hands. I think training is one of those things I'll never get tired of. So I really loved and enjoyed being an assistant. I love being behind the chair as well, and, even training other stylists, but there's nothing like continuing to learn yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with that, so I'm just to break it down. You went to cosmetology school as well, and you assisted this person at the same time. Was it in
I
a
went,
big? Sorry, carry on.
no, I went to cosmetology school first, and while I was in cosmetology school, I was a receptionist at a hair salon. And then when I graduated, I moved to LA and trained in Beverly Hills under my mentor, Christine Chavez.
Okay, great. And was that in a sort of a suite rental situation, or was that in a bigger salon?
We were in a pretty big salon. We were in a few salons. We started off at Ramirez Tran, and then we went to Royal. So it was kind of like, yeah, like a rental, but you're with other stylists. So not
Yeah.
like a standalone.
Yeah, okay, great. So you got to see what everyone else was up to as well, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way to learn, isn't it? So how
Yeah.
long were you assisting for?
I assisted for a little over a year. A little over a year, which was kind of unheard of at that time because most assistants were like on year two, year three. And I really appreciate my mentor because she's like, no, like, I want to get you behind the chair. Like, I don't want you to be an assistant forever. I want you to learn. And she really threw me in like pretty quickly. I think like the first maybe 2, 3 months, she's like, okay, go ahead and tip out that side. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's
What
like, you
what?
won't know unless you get in there and you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the thing, isn't it? It's a doing job, and it's great that you obviously had a good mentor as well that didn't want to just keep you as their assistant. Because
Yeah.
there is an awful lot of that.
Yeah.
It's they'll drag their feet. Well, we've got a good assistant here. We'll keep them as an assistant.
Yes.
We'd rather not do that. And then when you moved to LA, how did you find that sort of going out on your own?
I loved it. I think I've always been pretty independent and like ready to go on any adventure and see the challenges and face them. So I enjoyed like leaving home and figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely. When you moved there, did you go working in salons, or did you go sort of suite rental, self-employed, or how did you go about that?
I started with kind of like a rental situation. I've also worked in a few commission salons. I've kind of experienced a little bit of all of the different structures. California is a little different in how we run salons just because of all of our laws and things like that. But when I first started, my mentor was really great. She would pass down the clients that couldn't afford her, next level of increase. And then it was kind of like a percentage of that would be split. So it's kind of like a rental.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? And sort of you're still in LA now?
I am, yes.
Yeah, and are you enjoying it there still?
I do. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it. I'm open to wherever God takes me, whatever states or countries that is. But as of right now, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and you've been on your own now for how long?
I've pretty much been on my own since 17. I'm 25 now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
been a little while.
yeah, no, no, on the in the sort of the salons. So how long was it you were? What age did you
Mm.
finish up assisting, and then sort of going
I've
on?
been behind the chair now, man. Let's see. I would say like 6 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fabulous, isn't it? So you've been in the industry a little while there as well. So
Yeah.
what do you sort of find as sort of been the biggest challenge since you obviously moving across the country there? You're working as an assistant. You're working in the salon. What did you find was your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge has probably been or was probably figuring out my niche or what I really want to do. I think you know, we're taught how to do hair, but we're not taught all of the opportunities that we really have access to. And I wish I would have spent a little more time like figuring out like, do I want to work like on set? Do I want to work in the salon? Do I want to do hair on tours? Like all of those kind of things. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge is like really figuring out what kind of hairstylist do I want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a difficult thing, isn't it, to decide upon, especially, you obviously had a good training and a good assisting and, period and things like that. But it's very difficult as I don't think we tell people enough about what we can do and what we do in the industry. All
Mhm.
the different paths you can take. You can be a hairdresser in a strip mall and, do okay at that. You can be a hairdresser that rents your own space. You can go off and do the tours. You can go off and do the fashion stuff. You can do everything. I mean, how would you say that we could do better at getting that out there?
I think just really educating the new stylists that are coming into the industry. Um, I think just speaking up more on like, here's your options and giving them opportunities and resources to connect them with people who say, hey, come assist me on set, come with me to do this, come try styling, come do color, come do extensions, and opening up that community. So we're giving those new stylists the opportunity to say, like, I thought I wanted to be behind the chair in like a traditional salon and do these things, but I love being on set and I love these things. So I think it just really boils down to opportunities and education and sticking to being a community.
Yeah, that's the main thing, isn't it? Is I think we need to do better as an industry in order to tell people. We need the people within the industry to do that, you
Yeah.
know. And we need more of the good people, like you obviously assisted someone who was good, who wanted to get you out there and doing you.
Yeah.
It's something that we really need to start to push because we're in the middle of a recruitment crisis, in the industry. I feel that it's a bit of a broken record, but we keep saying it and we keep doing nothing about it. I think we're sort of on the verge of insanity as an industry. We keep shaking the same tree and expecting something different to fall out.
Yeah.
We're in a really strange place at the moment. It's a worldwide problem. Not just here in America. It's the same in the UK, same in Australia, same in South Africa, same in Europe. It's everywhere. And we really need to start upping our game in sort of saying this is the career and the life you can have. You can do pretty much or as little as you want to do,
Yeah.
within the industry. So what niche did you end up deciding? And how many did you try before you discovered your niche?
I did try a few. I tried a few things on set, not my jam. I actually thought that that was something I would like, or, doing hair for red carpet and like more of like events. I thought that I would enjoy that. I did not. So I'm glad that I had opportunity to experience those things. But I do flourish and thrive. I love being behind the chair in a salon with my regular clientele who comes in consistently. And I am a color specialist and extensions. So that's my niche that I found that I love. I felt like every time I picked up scissors to cut, I'm like, I actually am not enjoying this. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's like little dustings and trims, sure, but like I want to paint, I want to do color corrections, I want to give you hair down to the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it you didn't like about the sort of runway session type of stuff?
I think it was just so much styling that I'm like, I want to do color. And I mean, you can still kind of do extensions, which is great. And that was fulfilling. I think also like on set, the hours, not for me. It's like a little chaotic. But I have other friends who do hair on tour and do hair on set and they flourish and they love that life. And I just like consistency and like being in a space, controlling the hours that I'm working.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something that, a lot of people don't appreciate with the session side of stuff is the amount of time it takes. Much of life. I mean, when I was doing it sort of properly, I was away from home 4 months a year. Out of my own bed 4 months a year.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And it is a commitment. And sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not quite so fun. And you got to balance it out. But that's the key thing is, like you say, exposing yourself to all these different elements and finding out what it is you like doing. And
Yeah.
what was it then that drew you to color? Was it just something that you found you were naturally good at, or is it something that you just really liked using the techniques and sort of the chemistry behind it all?
I think a little bit of both. I think my mentor, Christine, was like super geeked out on color and like the science of color and formulation. And that excited me. I was like, wow, like this is cool. Like, where are we starting at? Where are we trying to go? Like, what do we need to get there? So I think that part was that drew me to color and also the technique of it, like being able to visually just look at the hair and be like, okay, I'm going to pick it up here. I'm going to pick it up here. We're going to create something really beautiful and then see it come to fruition at the end. I was like, this is fulfilling. This is exciting.
Yeah. Well, what do you find is the most challenging element of color these days? Because color is getting more and more complex in the way that we're applying color, in the techniques, in the section, and everything. What do you find is sort of the most challenging thing to do and to get across to the clients?
I think the most challenging thing is probably the client stylist communication, not necessarily the actual coloring or the techniques. I think it can be a challenge if you don't know how to consult with your clients or when your clients are coming in and asking for certain things. And you're not maybe explaining exactly where your client is at and how they can actually get there. So I think it's really a communication thing. That's like the biggest struggle, but it also boils back down to educating and the more you know, because once you're confident in the education of it, you can confidently tell your client like, hey, this is great and this is beautiful, but these are the steps that's going to take to get there. This is what is attainable for today's session and where we can get you within the next sessions. So I think that would be the biggest challenge.
Yeah, that's brilliant because that's really important to say, 'cause especially with a lot of younger stylists or people just starting out, people who aren't quite as confident with color. it's something that, once again, we struggle with as an industry. I think we let a little bit too much of the genie out the bottle sometimes, and a little bit of knowledge can be a very dangerous thing if you don't really know where it's going. And
Yeah.
it's something I think we need to be better at explaining and saying, look, we can get there, but it is going to take you 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, however long it's going to take. We can, but it's going to take time, 'Cause especially
Yeah.
in sort of the sort of atmosphere of now.
Mm.
In the world, it can be very difficult sometimes, sort of, to say that actually it does take a little bit of time, and it's great you said that because that should help a lot of people. In
Yeah,
regards
and
to,
just remembering that like your client is coming to you as the professional. Your client's coming to you because they trust you and they believe that you are the expert in what you're doing. That's why they're in your chair. So when you are confident in your knowledge and what you know, your clients, they feel that. So if you're confidently telling your client and educating them on the terms that they can understand, you're going to have an easier time with your client being like, okay, I trust you. Let's start. But it really, yeah, that communication and that confidence and the knowledge is confidence.
absolutely. And so when you're saying there with the knowledge, so you're very, very I know, as we've spoken before about education and sort of how to get that out there. So how do you sort of find where to go to get your education? Do you prefer like the in-person stuff? Do you use online? How do you go about that?
I love a little bit of both. I feel like in-person education is really exciting because you get to like connect with people. You're really like in there doing the techniques. You're working with the product in the classes, even if it's a look and learn. You're with your community. What are you using? How are you doing this? I think online education is great too because there are times where you're just like, it's like YouTube tutorials. I don't know about everyone else, but I feel like that like 2016 makeup craze era, I would sit on YouTube like all day and I'm like, how do I do this? Let me watch these makeup tutorials. And it was fun. So I think it's the same thing with online education, but I've done a mixture of both, but they're both important. Education in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the education, you tend to go sort of independent educators. You tend to go with product brand educators. You do a mixture of both.
Same thing, a mixture of both. I definitely will take product education classes because I want to learn about the product and I want someone who's there to pretty much give me an in-depth understanding of how the product works, what you should be using it on. But when it comes to what I'm doing behind the chair and techniques I want to learn, I'm definitely going for those independent educators who are in the salon every day. They're not necessarily like a rep for a brand teaching you about product. They're actual stylists who are behind the chair working with different products, giving you the realities of what it's like behind the chair. So those are who I like to learn techniques from, but product knowledge classes, still love those from brands.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to get a bit of both there. I think he's going to stop. Yeah, there you go. It's important. I don't know if you heard that. The dog's going wild. We will sort that out. Anyway, so yeah, it's important to get a little bit of both in regards to sort of education, how you sort of get it. Like you say, it's important to get the product information from the product companies, and sometimes getting the technique as well from sort of the product companies and someone independent. Now, I
Yeah.
know, I know your sort of passion for education's extended as well. It's gone over and you've launched My Beauty IQ, haven't you? So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I launched my Beauty IQ. It's an app where beauty professionals can find in-person classes happening around them. And I launched it because I was like, where are we as professionals, as stylists, finding these classes? Because at least for me, I'm finding classes, scrolling, hoping that something pops up on Instagram. I'll be, like on something like Eventbrite and scrolling page, the pages you're all mixed in there. Even if you type in like hair class, it's like pottery comes up and all these like random things. And it's like, it's not exactly what I'm looking for, but maybe I'll find something in there. So yeah, I created my VAQ because I'm like, I think if stylists had easier access to opportunities of like, oh, there's a class happening this weekend, a class happening next month, like let me book it. You now are in control of investing in your own career and your future. And it's a resource that makes it easy for you to do that. So yeah, and I wanted to give independent educators who don't maybe have a lot of reach or they're not signed with brands who, are helping them with that reach, have the opportunity to get in front of the eyes of people who do want to take a class like theirs because they're talented and they have so much knowledge to give. It's just how do we connect those independent educators with the stylists who are like, I want to find a class just like this. Where do I find it? Versus just finding classes based off of what's being given to you. Now you can refine your search and be like, I want to take a color class that's in person, hands-on, within the next month for under $200. Boom. Here's a list of those classes that are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic idea. And I know we've spoken about it before, but like the thing that is so good about it, it enables everyone to get in the spotlight, so to speak. If you're looking for a balayage class, for instance, in the LA area, it enables you to really file it down into where you really need to be looking. And like you say, is with so many other providers there, because they're general providers, Eventbrite, places like that. They do a bit of everything, don't they? But this is brilliant because it's so much just for the hair industry, isn't it? There's nobody else involved. It's just the hair industry. It
Yeah,
really
it's just
does.
the beauty industry. So anyone with a cosmetology license, we also have skincare, nails, makeup. So we have makeup artists on there who are teaching, 8-week pro makeup classes. How can you start getting, those makeup gigs for, on set or events, red carpets, or you're doing weddings. So I wanted to make sure that it was for the beauty industry in whole. Obviously, me as a hairstylist, I have a deep love for, my fellow hairstylists. And it started with wanting to give them a resource, but also remembering that our industry is bigger than just, us hairstylists. And we work alongside, our estheticians and our makeup artists, and we all play such a crucial role in this industry. That I, wanted to include all beauty professionals, anyone with a cosmetology license can be on this platform to either teach education or to find education.
Yeah, it's a fabulous thing, like you say, there is bringing all the elements together, as well, isn't it? Because I know here in the States is a lot different to everywhere else with sort of cosmetology and sort of it all the makeup and the, like you say, esthetician, sort of all being lumped into one sort of area,
Yeah, one
hair and whatnot.
umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone I know, they had to end up, they're a English hairdresser, and he ended up having to do a bit of nails for the cosmetology license in somewhere where he is. This
Yeah.
man, he's not the man who does nails, but
Yeah.
it's something that you had to do,
Yeah. We
to
had to
come.
do that in school.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So whereas sort of in the UK and Europe and whatnot, it is if you're a hairdresser, you're a hairdresser. If you do waxing and esthetician type work, that's what you do. Nails, you do nails. It's a very, very different way of doing things. But it's a brilliant thing in all the way that you've done it in order to bring everything together there. And like you say, where can people find out a little bit more information about My Beauty IQ?
Yeah, they can head over to, we have our website. It's www.mybeautyiq.com. We're also on socials, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, or you can download the app on your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. And that's how you can find us. And if anyone has questions or things like that, they can email at contact us at mybeautyiq.com, or they can just shoot me a DM. My Instagram is Korinthia Marsh. And then the My Beauty IQ Instagram is My Beauty IQ.
Fabulous. What we'll do, we'll put all of that in the notes for the episode and whatnot, and on the promo stuff, so people can find you easily. Yeah, thank you very much for coming on today, Corinthia. It's been brilliant having you,
Ben?
and lovely. Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
Alrighty, bye.